Okay, so good day everyone. So, and good day ma'am. This is our report that we're going to discuss. The topic that was given to us, the policing system in the Philippines. So, way back to history, the Philippine National Police originated from the Philippine Constabulary or the PC, which was inaugurated on August 8, 1901, establishing it as an insular police force under the American regime. So, on August 8, 1975, Presidential Decree number 765 was issued establishing the Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police or the PC or INP as the country's national police force. So these fragmented and diverse local police units were integrated into a national police force with the Philippine Constabulary as its nucleus. So after the People's Revolution in 1986, a new constitution was promulgated providing for a police force which is the national in scope and civilian in character. So consequently, Republic Act number 6975, no, entitled an act establishing the Philippine National Police under the reorganized Department of the Interior and Local Government. So sa RA 6975, so mo na siya ang gi-establish sa PNP nga na reorganize na siya gikan sa police constabulary na imo siyang PNP, then under na siya karon sa tuwang DILG, and was signed into law on December 13, 1990, which took effect on January 1, 1991. Subsequently, the PNP was operational on January 29, 1991. Those members were formerly the PC and the INP, and the absorption of the selected members from the major service units of the armed forces of the Philippines, such as the Philippine Air Force, Force Security Command, the Philippine Coast Guard, Philippine Navy, and the Philippine Army. Thus, to further strengthen the PNP into highly efficient and competent police force, Republic Act number 8551 entitled the PNP Reform and the Reorganization Act of 1998 was enacted on February 17, 1998, amending certain provision of RA 6975. So next, police organization. So what is police organization? It is a body of officers representing the civil authority of government. Police typically are responsible for maintaining public order and safety, enforcing the law, and preventing, detecting, and investigating criminal activities. So sa ato ang police organization, so muna sila itong mga officers, no, na represent the civil authority of the government. So muna sila mga otorisado nga trabaho sa gobyerno, muna itong mga police. Then they are responsible sila for maintaining public order and the safety sa community, then enforcing the law, preventing, detecting, and investigating criminal activities. So sa tuwang police organization, na po na sila mga policy and principle. So una, it shall establish a highly efficient and competent police force. So dapat knowledgeable ang isa ka police, no? Then the police shall be national in scope and civilian character. So cover siya sa lang yung mga juris niya, kung sa iyang po sa iyang civilian character, dapat kabalo po siya sa iyang mga juris o asa na siya po. Then administered and controlled by the commission. So napoy naga-monitor sila, no, gikan sa administrative. Then community service oriented. So kabalo sila na sa mga pamaagi para ma-maintain ang community security and safety. Then responsible in maintaining peace and public order. Mga ito siya, no? Sulti na kayo. Ensure accountability ang security sa isa ka lugar sa imong nasakupan. So para ma-able to ma-achieve tong mga ingatong nga mga kuan kinaya sa pulis, dapat ma-apply to nila para mahimos lang effective sa ilang kuan trabaho, then efficient. So diri punta sa qualification of NP section 14 RA 8551 as amended by RA 9708. So kailangan must be citizen of the Philippines, of course, has a good moral conduct, must pass drug test, physical test, psychiatric test administered by any accredited government hospital, has baccalaureate degree, must eligible, must have been dishonorably or discharged from military employment, must not have been convicted of any offense involving moral turpitude. So at least 1.62 meters male, then 1.57 female, and must not less than 21, nor 30 years age more than. Then next, tuwang PNP organizational structure. So tinakin ako na kailangan i-elaborate kay medyo ako na po kayo siyang. So gikan sa chief, ano siya, directorial, staff, then yung mga subordinates. Then justice system. So the criminal justice system essentially is the system or process in the community by which crimes are investigated and the persons suspected thereof are taken into custody, prosecuted in the court, and punished. If found guilty, provision being made for their correction and rehabilitation. So sa Philippines, pinatay justice system na kung asa ang kriminal na ay na siya ka ng due process ba para ma-respect po na ito ang rights niya. So sa justice system sa Philippines, we have 5 pillars, no? First is the law enforcement, second is prosecution, third courts, correction, and community. So there is a law enforcement, sila ang nag-impose of law, prevent and detect crime, and investigate firearms and offenses. So diriya pag nabawaan kang ikaw ang suspect, dadun ka sa prosecution, gina-prosecute ka rito, ginatanaw yung mga gina-interview ka rito, involved in criminal proceedings, respect human dignity and fundamental rights. O dara ginakuan nimo mga tag rights. Then after prosecution, ihatod ka sa courts. So atong court is the cornerstone of the system wherein it determine whether the person charged with the criminal offense is guilty or not. So pag atod sa court, ang judge matag og charge mo kung sa yung mga penalty nga dapat serve sa darian na sa correction. So sa correction, so darian mo i-serve ang sentence nga gikan sa court nga gihatag sa judge mo or kung 20 years ba ni siya or life sentence, diyan mo siya i-serve. So dira po sa correction, correct ang imong mga kinaya, no? Gina-restore para maulian ka after sa imong duration sa imong sentence. Kuha na ka ba? Dili ka pwede mo balik sa imong mga dating nga mga gibuhat nga nakapakose mo ang imprisonment. So sa community na pod, so the community viewed an integral part of criminal justice in the Philippines. So dariya sa law enforcer, kailangan gina-maintain yun na to ang atong community nga wala kayo kriminal, no? Peace and safety na provide tao programs, activities na makapa-enhance sa mga sa mga tao nga puyo nga or sa baka ng mga agenda nga magkanda og mga kuan, mga activities or para malayo sila sa mga kuan baka ng mga kriminal nga kuan, mga binuhatan. The next is the correctional system. So correctional system, the Philippines correctional system is composed of the institution and the government, civil society in the business sector involved in the confinement. So correction and restoration of persons charged for and were convicted of delinquent acts or crimes. So diri sa correctional system na to is kuan sila ang isa ka convicted person or kanang mga delinquent acts of or crimes kanang mga gagmay na mga kuan, mga dili kayo tagasog mga sentence or sa kanang serve nila nga penalty, gina-restore ang isa ka tao, no, nga karon gina-rehab sila ba para mausab ang ilang mga mali nga gibuhat dati para aron pagawas nila after silang service lang mga sentence is dili na sila mausab atong mga gawi nila. Then role of corrections. Role of correction is to ensure that offender sentence is carried out. So ang role sa correction po daw is ang kailangan ang ilang sentence nga ilang i-service kuan nila ba ma-serve nila nga tinarong. Then whether it's time in jail or prison, provision or community service. Then tagaan sila og community service na makahigayon sila nga ato sa gawas para makapag serve sa community na kung kaya ba nila nga di na sila mabuhat og mali o kung makabuhat sila mali is ibalik na po sila sa kuha na po sila i-rehab na po sila balik, no, matud sa maulian gyud ang isa ka tawo. Then four classes of prisoners in the Philippines. So first we have insular prisoner, no, kani consider nato siya as national prisoner. One who is sentenced to a prison term of 3 years and 1 day to death. Then second is provincial prisoner. So katong sa mga nasa provincial nga mga kulong. No, prison term of 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. City, one is sentenced to a prison term of 1 day to 3 years. And municipal prisoner is sentenced to a prison term of 1 day to 6 months. So, 3 types of detainees. First, those undergoing investigation. So, kani sila, mga gipang detainee sila, pero ang ilang kaso is ongoing pa na kanang gina-investigahan sila while gina-detain sila, ang ilang mga possible nga ikaso sila is gina-investigahan pa kung sa itong mga possible attack sila. Then those awaiting trial, so diri ginahulat na po nila unsa ilang mga silang trial pa silang mga pwede ihatag sila nga kaso. Then those awaiting final judgment, so dito na gikan sa court kung sa ilang mga penalty nga iyang kuan dito na kuan ihatag siya sa court. So next is Bureau of Correction. Next reporter.
So good day, ma'am. The next topic is Bureau of Correction or BUCOR. BUCOR has for its principal task the rehabilitation of national prisoners or those sentenced to serve a term imprisonment or more than 3 years. Since its creation, the BUCOR has involved with modern penology and has shifted from the traditional view of imprisonment as a society. Retribution against criminal offenders into one which regards imprisonment as humanizing and enriching experience. Correction focus on rehabilitation and regards inmates as patients who need treatment and guidance in order to become productive and responsibilities members of society upon the release. So, sa akong kuan, Biocor, mo ni siya ang naghahatol sa mga prisoner, makulong sila na sulod sa tulo ka tuig or mo taas pa ilang pagkakulong. Nagadepende lang sa ilang mga sala na sa nabuhat. Pag next commit. So the next is Bureau of Jail Management and Penology or BJMP. BJMP also known as the Jail Bureau as an agency under the DILG was created the Section 60 Republic Act number 697513 which took effect on January 2021. It is mandated to direct, supervise, and control. So ang BJMP mo ni mo na siya ang in charge sa mga jail. Mo ni sila naka-control sa mga operation sa mga jail like municipality or city, all of jail mo ni sila ang nagakontrol. So the next is functions. The first, formulate policies and guidelines on the administration of all this district, city, and municipality jails. So sila ang naga-formulate o naga-create og policies para maghatag sila og guidelines sa mga jails. The next is formulate and implement policies for the programs of corrections, rehabilitations, and treatment of inmates. So, mo ni ang naga-implement sa mga policies like para sa mga like na mga program ana. The next plan and program funds for the subsistence allowance of the improvement of jail services throughout the country. So, mali. Allowance of inmates. So, sila ang nagaplano sa mga allowance para sa mga inmates. The next is conduct research, develop, and implements plans and programs for the improvement of jail service throughout the country. So kini ang kuan ni kay mo ni ang nagakandak sila kanang like mag-research sila kana kung naabay improvement sa mga jail sa depende or like mag-improve improvement sa katuig kana. So the next is provincial government. Provincial jails numbering 104 in all, including sub-provincial extensions are under the supervision and control of the provincial government. So ang provincial government, which means money ang kanang in charge sa mga jails na like sa mga probinsya, mo ni sila naga-control mo ni silang in charge ang provincial government. So the next is Parole and Probation Administration or the PPA. The PPA was created pursuant to Presidential Decree number 99680 as amended to administer the provision system under Executive Order number 29221. The provision administration was renamed as the Parole and Probation Administration and given the added functions of supervising persons who, after serving what of their sentence in jails, are released on parole granted conditional pardon. The PP and the Board of Pardons and Parole are the agencies involved in the non-institutional treatment of offenders. Probation is the status of accused who, after conviction and sentence, is released subject to condition imposed by the court and supervision of the probation officers. So, parole and probation administration kanang mao ni siya ang sila ang nagahatag og kanang mababang hatol ba sa mga prison kung depende pud sa isa ka prisoner kung kanang wala siya gilabag sa isa ka sa sulod sa sa kulungan din naa say chance na mahatag sa iyang parol or makuanan siya mababa iyang hatol sa pagkakulong niya. That's all. The next report.
So criteria for provision: to be able to enjoy the benefits of provision, it must first be shown that an applicant has none of the disqualification imposed by law. So kailangan sa provision na pud criteria no nga para maka-apil ka na tagahan kag provision. So dapat wala ka sa mga disqualification nga gina-impose sa law. So provision shall be denied if the court finds. So provision daw dili niya dawaton kung ang court na makita niya nga ang offender is need a correctional treatment that can be provided most effectively by his commitment to an institution. So kailangan ang isa ka offender di ay is mo undergo siya og correctional treatment. So kailangan siya mabag-o siya so that ang effectively niya is kanang napo siya commitment sa institution ba kailangan mo commit siya dito nga kuan para kung kanang kuan siya ba gusto niya mo baba ang iyang sentence nga iyang deserve is kailangan mo commit siya sa institution so sa correction. Then there is an injuries during the period of provision under the offender will commit another crime. So kung ang isa ka offender is na commit og another crime, so ang iyang provision is dili na pwede mabalik no kung dili siya matagaan og kanang kuan provision ginadawat mo sa kuan sa court. Then provision will depreciate the seriousness of offense committed. So ang provision po daw is muhatag og muhatag og lisin nga kanang ba mo iyang ibaba ang imong offense nga na commit. Ana lang. Next is juvenile system. Next reporter, please.
So, yeah, juvenile system. Republic Act number 9344 or the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act defines the juvenile justice and welfare system as a system dealing with children at risk and children in conflict with the law, which provides child-appropriate proceedings, including programs and services for prevention, diversion, rehabilitation, reintegration, and aftercare to ensure their normal growth and development. Instead of using the word juvenile, Philippine laws made use of the word child as defined in Republic Act number 9344. Child is a person under the age of 18 years, while child at risk refers to the child who is vulnerable to and the risk of committing criminal offenses because of personal, family, and social circumstances. So kani juvenile system, so sila to ang kanang nagadil og kanang mga bata nga nakakumit og crime which is napa siya sa edad nga 17 or pababa. So sa mga examples is being abandoned or neglected of living in a community with high level of criminality or drugs. So isa sa mga example nga nung ang isa ka bata makakumit siya og crime, it's because of sa iyang surroundings or naaba siya family problem, mga inana. Palihog ko next meet. So court system. Court exists to do justice, to guarantee liberty, to enhance social order, to resolve disputes, to maintain rule of law, to provide for equal protection, and to ensure due process of law. So ang courts is sila ang nagahatag sila assurance sa mga criminals na para maka-receive sila of fair trial, and also ilahang goal is to rehabilitate the offender. So court decide what really happened and what should be done about it. They decide whether a person committed a crime and what the punishment should be. They also provide peaceful way to decide private disputes that people can't resolve themselves. So ang court mo ay naga-decide, sila ang naga-determine sa kung ang isa ka tao nakakommit na jud siya og crime. So judiciary. The judiciary of the Philippines consists of Supreme Court, which is established in the Constitution, and 3 levels of lower courts, which are established through law by Congress of the Philippines. So when we say judiciary, mo na sila ang court of law, na siya kanang power judicial na givested. So types of courts in the Philippines. First is the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court, it has adopted and promulgated the rules of court for the protection and enforcement of constitutional rights, pleadings and practice and procedure in all courts, the admission in the practice of law. So ang Supreme Court, sila ang naga-exercise sa jurisdiction over cases kanang affecting consuls and other ambassadors. So let's proceed to Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals is vested with powers. So pareha sila as what I've said sa judiciary of the Philippines. So naa sila kanang power, judicial power vested. Decision resolutions, order or awards of regional trial courts and quasi-judicial agencies, instrumentalists, boards or commissions, except those failing within the appellate jurisdiction. Next. Court of Tax Appeals. The Court of Tax Appeals, or CTA, has exclusive appellate jurisdiction to the review of appeal decisions or inactions of the Commissioner of Internal Revenue or the Commissioner of Customs involving their respective responsibilities under the National Internal Revenue Code and the Custom Law, respectively, and those of the Secretary of Finance in automatic review of cases where the decisions of Commissioner of Internal Revenue or Customs favorable to the taxpayer are elevated to the Finance Secretary. Also those of Secretary of Trade and Industry. In the case of non-agricultural product, commodity or article, or the Secretary of Agriculture. In the case of agricultural product, commodity or article in connection with the imposition of the anti-dumping duty, countervailing and safeguard duty. So ang tax of appeals sila ang naga-review og kanang decisions o gina-enact sa mga commissioners. So involved ni siya diri ang sa katong mga payers of tax, just like sa involvement ni Manny Pacquiao about ato iyahang kaso sa tax. So sila ang naay responsibility. So Court of Tax Appeals, involved na silang internal revenue tax. So ang Court of Tax Appeals composed of presiding justice and associate justice. So sa Court of Tax Appeals, sila ang naga-determine sa law nga kung gi-apply pa ba siya correctly in trial court. So the trial court appeal must consist of 3 judges and do not use jury. So when we say jury, it is a group of people summoned and sworn to decide on the fact in issue at the trial. That's it. Thank you.
So Sandigan Bayan or SB tries and decide criminal and civil cases against government officials and employees accused of graft and corruption and similar of other offenses. So kani si Sandigan Bayan guys, mo ni siya ang kaning involved ang corruption sa mga politicians nga nag-corrupt. For example, ato is katong sa pork barrel scam. So katong cases diri gihearing or gihikay ang kaso sa Sandigan Bayan. So next one is Metropolitan Trial Court. So sa Metropolitan Trial Courts is municipal and municipal circuit trial court may be assigned by the Supreme Court to herein determine the cadastral or land registration cases recovering lots where there is no controversies or opposition or contested lots, the value of which does not exceed 20,000 pesos. So kani sa Metropolitan Trial Court guys, mo ni siya ang kining mga gani about sa mga yuta or kanang mga land registration. For example, kaning ilahang sa mga major jud ay kasagaran jud ani kay sa mga indigenous people. So kanang mga giilog ilahang mga area, mga kabilin. So ginahiring na diri sa Metropolitan Trial Court. Og isa pod kanang mga mga yuta nga kaning dili maka not exceed 20,000. So kanang dili mo taas sa 20,000, so diri sa ginahiring or ginahika ang kaso sa Metropolitan Trial Courts. Og kanang sa determine cadastral or land registration, so diri pod makita tong asa dapit ang area nga ang map nga asa dapit iyang kining iyang boundary sa iyang area or land registration. Makita po diri sa kung iyaha ba jud ng registration sa kana nga area or land. So next. So municipal trial courts. So to encourage the pursue amicable settlement of civil cases and light criminal offenses through mediation and judicial dispute resolution or GDR. So si municipal trial court guys, mo siya ang mga light criminal offense lang. For example is mga robbery, mga ning mga kanang basta nang dili ki siya dili ki siya bugat ka kaso like murder, bugat na jud siya. So kanang mga light lang ba, for example kaning bangga, so diri na siya diri na ginakuan sa municipal trial court kanang ginahikay ang hearing or ang kaso. So next one is municipal circuit trial court. So judge of metropolitan trial courts except those in the national capital region of municipal trial courts and municipal circuit trial courts shall have authority to conduct preliminary investigation of crimes alleged to have been committed with their respective territorial jurisdiction which are cognizable by. So si municipal trial court guys diri kaning dire ginahiring to sa kuan within the municipal lang nga mga cases nga kuan. Then so dire pod ginahikay tong mga kuan gining ng mga ginailog nga mga kuan ng mga pareha to sa land. So dire gyud pa na ginahikay kanang mga kuan kanang mga cases nga ingana gani about ana. So dire ginahikay sa within the jurisdiction lang po sa municipal. For example, municipal of Davao. So dire lang jud sa Davao ginahikay ilang or ginahiring ilang kuan kaso. So siya po ang kuan si municipal trial courts and municipal trial courts kay naa po sila authority to conduct preliminary investigation. For example, na mga cases nga ingana, so sila ang nagakonduct og preliminary investigation para makita jud nila kung tinuod ba or dili. So ilang kuan pod is naka-base lang po sila sa ilang jurisdiction or area nga nasa sakupan. So Sharia court. Sharia courts are under the administrative supervision of the Supreme Courts of the Philippines. Sharia is in the country only deals with Muslim customary and personal laws and excluded criminal laws. So Sharia court guys mo na siya ang kuan kining mga kuan sa court sa mga Muslims kanang mga Muslim kuan dire sila ginakuan nilang mga kaso hinahikay. So na sila kuan na sila duha ka mga courts sa Sharia courts. So si district courts and circuit courts. So the special courts of the Philippines is upat ka kuan. So si Sandigan is the fourth highest court in the Philippines. So appeal kami sa special court in the Philippines, si Court of Appeals ang ikatulo. So ang ikaupat na is si Sharia courts o si Sharia circuit courts. So kanang si Sharia o circuit courts guys within sa jurisdiction nang pala siya. For example, district sa Davao. So district sa Davao la pala siya. Ang mga circuit pod kanang marara siya og kuan kanang sa barangay gani about purag ingana gani nang gamay na siya nga kuan ba. Gamay nga siya nga territory lang ilang na kuan sa sakupan sa district within the district jud siya. For example, district 1, district 2. So sa district 1 lang jud siya ang kuan. So mga ana. Then so mao lang to siya guys.
Okay.
Okay na.
So ano siya?
I-end na ang kuan mi. Record stop.
Kanang end. Kanang end pinduton.